Home. Fanfiction. The Motherland has arrived. Unfortunately, I am Superman of Doom. The people of the Motherland have come. Unfortunately, I am Superman of Doom. Chapter 5. Meng felt extremely clearly that his consciousness seemed to break free from a limiting bottleneck at this moment. And the speed of walking in the intelligent network was more rapid and dexterous, and he instantly controlled the intelligence of the wooden house. Sure enough, at this moment, Meng determined some thoughts in his heart, and his understanding of the current situation of the dream of the Marvel world deepened. First of all, after the final online verification of Meng's last dream, it can be temporarily determined that the world structure of this dream is real and complete. After all, at this moment, a series of daily things and unnatural events are happening in the big countries and small cities on the other side of the dream world. With more than 6 billion human beings and countless creatures, the sea, land and air of this dream world exist alive. Captain America Memorial, Stark Industries new product sales, New York Battle Day, the founding of Wakanda country, the recent situation of the Avengers. Such hot searches and posts, online information is overwhelming. Everything is so real that it can't be more real. If Meng is not a dream, saying that this is the real world, he may believe it. Secondly, about time. The last time Meng stayed in the dream was more than 3 hours, and the reality was only 10 minutes later, which once again illustrates the confusion of dream time. And when Meng wakes up from the dream, he returns to reality. This time from reality to dream, the dream actually continued the time when he woke up and left before. It's like the moment Meng wakes up, the time in the dream also stops, waiting for his next dream. The whole world stopped for him. Meng once again felt the wonder of dreams, and the deeper he understood them, the more he wanted to immerse himself in exploration. It was as if a door had opened to a new world. In contrast, the dream of the sword is simply the difference between heaven and hell, and even time cannot be perceived. Of course, Meng also had a new question. Why did he have a dream of being a sword incarnation before? For 3 years and thousands of dreams, he only recently got some feedback on the sword ability. Last time, it was just a dream of being the embodiment of artificial intelligence for the first time, and in reality, he began to awaken a little bit of the characteristic ability of artificial intelligence. When it comes to being a sword and an artificial intelligence, what is the difference in dreams that leads to deviations in reality? Meng felt that this was an element that must be understood as soon as possible. Right now, it happened that through Morgan Stark, the daughter of Iron Man, was given the order to temporarily break free from the restrictions and go to the world outside the wooden house to explore the field. Wait until little Morgan changes into the sky blue dress. He went out and looks at the other party standing in the main hall of the wooden house with interest. Meng instructed, put on a smart watch, listen to my arrangement after going out, don't run around at will. Put it on. Everything listens to Saturday. Little Morgan raised his left hand and gestured to the children's watch that was firmly buttoned on his wrist. Good. Meng directly lodged his consciousness on the smartwatch, and said through the built-in voice of the smartwatch, in the future, when there is no one else, don't call me Saturday. Huh? Little Morgan blinked, completely unaware that the artificial intelligence that hosted her had become perfect. Dreamed and continued, call me Dad. Ba. Little Morgan tilted his little head suspiciously, did not understand the sinister intentions, opened his eyes brightly, and saluted seriously. Yes. A Chiba sensei. Meng. Forget it. Adult AI does not count with children. 0006 Post-Avengers era. The garage doors next to the lakeside cottages rise, and the lights in the garage turn on from the outside to the inside. Through the advanced sensors that come with the smartwatch on Morgan's wrist, Meng can clearly see that luxury cars with a cold metallic light and an assembly line texture are parked outside the garage. As for the perimeter of the garage, separated by a unique metal glass door, inside is a private studio with built-in machine support, energy coordination, intelligent assistance, element synthesis, metal forging, parts processing and other equipment tools. In addition to the workbench, several armor parts and metal masks are on display. Deep in the garage, inside the glass booth, 1 or 2 finished craftsmanship products can be faintly seen. The faint glow of gold, silver and blue silver respectively, even if you stand quietly like a dusty metal statue. It is still not comparable to the world's highest level of crafts luxury cars on the periphery of the garage. After all, it represents the cutting edge of Marvel Universe technology and the supreme king of technology. Electrostatic flow. Meng resisted the urge to break into the studio and occupy one of the finished bodies, and the private studio on the upper floor of the garage was obviously blocked. And the system permissions were estimated to be difficult to open with Morgan's permission. Even if it can be turned on, there is also an artificial intelligence, which may leave some backhands. Meng was very calm. If he broke in now, in the eyes of the Stark family, there was no difference from Ultron, and it would be tantamount to a complete betrayal. Even if Meng had such preconceptions and thoughts, at least not now. Meng must obtain more information about the current dream, and since this dream is so real, he can't just treat it as a dream. What if what happened in this dream can't be repeated? Little Morgan stood outside the garage, looking at the familiar and silent scene inside, and he was also stunned for a few seconds. Boom. Outside the garage, one of the extended black Rolls-Royces suddenly emitted a thick engine sound and drove out. It turns out that this is what the Autobots feel like. Meng, who controlled the built-in driving system of the modified Rolls-Royce, flashed an electrostatic thought, stopped next to Little Morgan, and made a system voice, "Come up, we have to hurry. If your mother finds out, it will be broken." Quote. Little Morgan was stunned again. Normally, Saturday was to call the man, Miss Potts. By the way, it's not called Saturday right now. One bully. Little Morgan whispered, not knowing what he was thinking, but his body was still very honest, and he leaned into the passenger seat of the open door. New York. The world's first economic capital and crime capital. And now, it is possible to temporarily raise this reputation to center of the universe. In the past 10 years, the city has experienced so much, first the initial Battle of New York, then the Ultron incident, the heroic Civil War, multiple threats, and finally the Endgame. Once. Here, from time to time, you can see the old man with his hips as the protagonist of a World War II documentary, see the hammer god falling from the sky with the roar of thunder. Or suddenly surprise a big man who turns green and collapses half a street. But that was years ago. Now, it's the post-Avengers era. Since the sacrifice of Iron Man, the crossing of the American team, the disappearance of Thor, the retirement of Hawkeye, the restriction of Ant-Man, and the departure of Scarlet Witch. There is only one Spider-Man left, and the Avengers exist in name only in the post-heroic era. A girl arrives alone on a street in New York, and although it is still several streets away from the most prosperous New York Times Square, the bustle of the place is still almost overflowing. The streets of the city are full of traffic, the goods on their respective facades are dazzling, and the lights of advertisements are dazzling. Little Morgan leaned against a street lamp, did not pay attention to the pedestrian who cast a strange gaze towards him, a pair of big blue eyes drooped down, and his small hand shook his left wrist. "Yeba, you said to take me to see my father's inheritance?" Quote. "But I know that Stark's headquarters has long been moved from here." "I never meant to take you to Stark headquarters." Yiming's words came from the watch. "You look around carefully." Quote. Little Morgan really opened her eyes and carefully looked at the extremely unfamiliar modern streets around her. She hadn't been to the city since her father left. Suddenly, Little Morgan noticed. On the projection screen of the commercial building across the street, a tall figure wearing a steel armor appeared. On the corner of the street not far from her, a 10-meter-high wall was graffiti on a metal back. There were passers-by coming and going on the street, many of them also had patterns of clothes, some children not much older than her, and they wore gold masks of the same style. Or palm covers that glowed daylight. They are constantly saying the names, Iron Man, and Tony Stark, leaving further and further with the pain of the past and the yearning for the future. Yiming's voice came into his ears at the right time. "What you see now is not all your father's inheritance." Quote. "The greatest legacy he left behind is the prosperity of this world and even the universe." Meng saw little Laurie crying. This time Morgan did not hold back, allowing tears to wet his immature face. Crying out, "It will feel better." Meng did not comfort like Potts, although the other party is only a 5-year-old child, but this is a fact that needs to be faced sooner or later. Nor did he exaggerate. Without Iron Man's last snapping fingers that killed the Thanos Legion, as the only chance of a reversal in millions of timelines, this world naturally does not have the current prosperous situation. Of course,